Hello everyone, it's Coach S111 here doing a quick NBA Finals showdown video. Now this won't be as intense and long as the NFL ones, and one of the things actually that I wanted to say and get out there is showdowns for basketball is the least favorite sport for me, but also should be for anyone for the simple fact that there's not as much variance. Basketball is one of the easier sports to predict. Minutes generally equals production, and you can predict that. And there's a backup catcher in baseball can hit a home run, and Mike Trout goes 0 for 4. LeBron, in all likelihood, is not going to go 0 for 20 from the field and let a backup player outscore him, with the exception of injury. And the same thing with football. There's so much variance in the touchdowns and stuff. So there's not as much sleepers, and you can't get as crazy in basketball, which leads to a lot of chopped pots. And that's not really why we play the game, is to chop the pots up. So I actually like cash showdowns better for basketball. So real quick here, I want to get my spreadsheet up. This is going to be a little bit different of a look. So this is actually the sheet that I would, minus the notes, would upload into our optimizer if you want to upload an entire spreadsheet versus just go in there and put the numbers. So this sheet has different percentiles, like the 99 percentile all the way down to 25 percentile. If you don't know what that means, something in the 75th percentile would basically mean that only 25% of the time they're expected to do that. So the 99 percentile is basically 1% of the time or around you're gonna do these scores. So you see that as LeBron as 87. So it's say 1% of the time LeBron can score in the 80s. That seems to make pretty sense. It's fairly accurate. So going to our optimizer here, and I gotta take my spreadsheet down. I've already put my projected ownerships in and my projections here. As you can see, they're different than SaberSim, and who powers our DFS Karma optimizer. Oh yeah, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Coach S111 and go to dfskarma.com to sign up for the optimizer. So I haven't done anything yet here. So one of the first things here, remember we talked about different contest size, is I'm going to build a cash lineup here. All right. So based on the projections I have in there, and I think I can show one more, it's given me a cheap captain and some studs with Howard for cash. Okay. So that's kind of what the optimizer is going to put. Now what I really want to focus on here is difference between tonight's Millie Maker and everything else. So the Millie Maker, if we go back to my spreadsheet here and take a look at it here. Okay, sorry about that. So there's a few things. First off, before we get to that, the only defensive efficiencies that I found is the Heat don't defend versatile power forwards well, which obviously spells Davis, but they don't defend versatile forwards. So if you consider LeBron a forward, which I would, well, everything else, both teams stack up fairly well on defense. So for me, it's two things. Every contest in the Millie Maker. So I want to roll the dice here to try to hit the million by myself or with a few others. So really, in game scripts in basketball are not as as detailed as football. There's really three things. Close game, Lakers blowout, Heat blowout. Okay. I guess in theory you could say somebody starts fast and the other team comes back quickly, but neither here nor there. In the Millie Maker, we're going to have to take some crazy chances. So you could, I think if you play a close game and assume, it's 10 to 12 points or less, you are most likely going to be playing all the chalky guys, and you're most likely going to chop the pot. So in that instance, I think you have the options of LeBron, Anthony, Bam, Jimmy, maybe. Your captains. You could mix in some of these, guys like Hero and Goran and various other folks. With some lower dollar guys, or you could take a low dollar. You could put a Caruso who's going to be popular, or a Howard, Robinson. Kind of all these guys can really fit for, a possible close game. Now, so if these are all, we've highlighted a lot of folks, in my opinion, if those are all your captain spots, where do you really differentiate yourself? Well, one of the things that, I think you could possibly do, is to play like a few bench guys. Even and hope for a foul trouble. So maybe you mix in a Rondo and a Kuzma, and you fade one of the Lakers stars. Or you could pick one or two captains, and you could rotate everyone else, that plays minutes, including the guys not highlighted, in the utility spot. And just you understand that most likely you're going to chop the pot. Now, clearing this off, or we can work to the side. So let's work to the side in case there's some overlay. Is in a Lakers blowout. So let's just say the Lakers are going to blow out. So who's going to get some cheap run? Well, in this instance, I think that you go Kuzma. This is where Morris. What you would, in my opinion, would, if you think the Lakers are going to blow up, what I think, a good strategy could possibly be is you take a Lakers bench player. In theory, I guess you could do Rondo. I don't know if he would close in a blowout. And you put in one of the Lakers, main guys, and one of the Heat's main guys, and then you mix, in a Heat bench guy or two. So if you really think the Lakers are going to blow up, like Morris or Kuzma at captain, let's say the first three quarters, they don't get anything, or anything very good. And then, they play the last 6 minutes in garbage time. So maybe you throw Kuzma at captain, Morris, Derek Jones with three salaried players. Okay? Now, the less likely chance is, if the Heat blow out. So if the Heat blow out, who's Kelly Olynyk's probably going to see the floor. The last 5 or 6 minutes, let's say the Heat get up, you got Derek Jones, you see a Solomon Hill, but he doesn't really have a whole lot of upside. So maybe you take Olynyk and you put him in the guy. I would like him more than Jones because he may play a little bit and score depending on the script. So maybe you take Olynyk and you figure because they blew him out, all the other Heat stars did really, really well. Their salary's lower than LeBron and Davis. So you put Butler, Bam, and Goran in there, and you rotate between LeBron and AD because they're going to get some points. And then you put another Lakers bench guy in, like Kuzma, or don't forget guys I don't even have on my sheet. You could play the Lakers rookie, Tucker, or some guys do so far on the bench. But in my estimate, there's so many lineups in the millie that if you're going to play without being goofy and understanding you're going to most likely lose that $20 or $25, your best case scenario, tying for a chop pot. So what you could do, back to strategy one's the most likely to pay off, is just try to differentiate your lineup in one spot. So maybe leave a little salary on the table. Maybe throw in a Derek Jones and hope there's some foul trouble. You'll throw in, you'll play chalk and throw in an Olynyk here or there. You still have to have a strategy. Don't just go in and push a button in the optimizer. So Here's a few things here now, is going back to the optimizer. We go to GPP. Like if I'm going to play the $333 one, and or 20 max, let's just say this amount. Let's just say I don't want to play all 20 entries. Let's just say I can afford 3 entries, and that's okay. So I'm going to put 3 here when I build my lineup pool. I'm going to go to my captains. It's giving me LeBron and Jimmy Butler. So you know what? I already talked about the power forwards, being the only spot of weak defense. So I want to make sure that we have Anthony Davis in one. So in this instance, I think those guys have the highest ceiling. I'm okay with my 3 lineups playing those guys at captains. Bam. We've got Goran, Hero, Robinson's got Howard in there twice. It does have Morris. Let's just say I will only want to leave Morris in one of them. So I'm going to max it at 35. Now it switches, gives me all to Caruso. If I feel good about Caruso, I'm okay with that. The only thing I see I don't like is it's got Davis in one captain. And see, now it actually changed to give me Jimmy Butler one. I'm still okay with that. But it doesn't, I want Davis at least in one of the utilities. So it took Bam down one. And let's just say, I like these lineups. Okay, so that's fine. I don't have any Kuzma. I don't have any Kelly Olynyk, Jones. Nothing too crazy here. Now, let's just say let's say I can play 15 millis or even 3, whatever UP you can afford. Maybe I want to build 3 different builds, and this is what I think I'm going to do tonight. One, close game and probably tie. One, a Lakers blowout and a very few Heat blowout build. But let's put this settings to over 50,000, 150 max. Let's just say I can only do 5 entries. Okay, well, I guess I want you guys to see the numbers some. So let's just say I'm going to build 20 out of 150. If you can only do however many you can do, you could always just pick the best lineups out of it if you don't want to set the number. I want to see you guys how I would see the exposures, how they're going to be a little different here. Watching here on these other screens, the baseball, we got Bauer and Fried here in a pitcher's duel. It's 0-0 into the 5th, so that's where my eyes keep going. But nonetheless here, okay, so the system still isn't like an Anthony as much as a Davis as much as I like today. But, so right off the bat, I know I want Davis, in captain, but it's depending on, what build I'm going to build here. So let's just say I think it's going to be a close game. Neither team's going to blow out. I definitely want to put Davis here, in 20% of the captains. Is there anybody else that, I feel I need to have? Not at the moment. So it's also not throwing Davis a lot in utility, the projections, but must not project as high. I like him in there some. So now here's what I'm going to do though. This is the Millie Maker. So I am playing it pretending like it's a close game, but I'm going to put in Olynyk a little bit. It says we need to build some new lineup pools. It's obviously not projecting real well. Okay, so when I've had to hit it this many times, obviously the projections are saying the likelihood of this hitting is very slim to none. The thing is here, in our build pools, we have 50,000 and over. When I'm going to look up on another screen and get DK up here and see, I forget the exact amount of content folks in the Millie Maker today, but it is, let's see, upcoming. It's 107,000. So our thing says 50,000 or greater. In that instance, 51,000 and 107,000 max entries. There's quite a bit of difference. So the computer is saying it's not the best projected lineup, but I'm understanding that like the likelihood, the only way I'm really going to not shop is if something goofy happens, because maybe someone gets injured, someone two guys get in foul trouble, Linux gets a spot minute, so the only way to build a lineup that's not going to be duplicated is to throw some curveballs in there. Now, in this build, I'm building where it's going to be relatively close. So I'm understanding the likelihood there's a good chance of chopping. Now, the other strategy, like you say in a close game, is so even though you're most likely chop, but you could take your captain exposures and pick 2. So if you just hit on your captains, and they're the highest 2 players, you don't play a Millie Maker to cash, but you, in theory, could cash almost all your lineups. So I kind of like that strategy now that we're doing this together here, is in the close games, builds, well, you're not going to do something crazy in captain to limit your exposures, to a 2 to 3, and you therefore get a lot more combinations, of that particular player. So if I was going to do it, I would personally take Davis, LeBron, and probably would go with a lower dollar Heat guy, someone like a Crowder, Robinson, or Hero, and then it'll let me get some more higher dollar players in the utility spots. So whatever your case may be here, you can see how you have to build differently, and I guess I would ask that as we close this up here, you don't play a Millie Maker without a strategy by pushing a button, because in all likelihood you're going to tie and it's going to be a chop pot. There are some times where I think just making one hand move change out of a good optimized lineup, or just cutting out or adding in a particular player. I have 5 chalky guys and I let in one guy, and he comes in and he gets some run and he scores some points, and I'm like, wow, there's only 3 of these lineups. How it's not that crazy of a lineup. So I think you don't have to be totally off the board, but if you just go a little bit, maybe things that don't correlate the best, like play the starting point guard and the backup, and you hope that they both do great while they're in there. Something to get, instead of chopping it by 100 to 200 people, maybe there's 10 lineups, and your lineup's not that crazy. So in summary, I like Davis tonight. Obviously I like LeBron. That's not, I mean, everyone is. And I think some of the lower dollar Heat players, I will rotate some in captain. And I don't think there's a very likelihood that the Heat blow out the Lakers, but I will build a set of Lakers blowout lineups that will sprinkle in that rookie a little bit, but may play some Morris and Kuzma at captain. Figure, Lakers jump out 20, 30-point lead. They come out third quarter, maintain the lead, and these guys get, points in garbage time. In those lineups, I'll let some Heat bench players in there as well. And, I would say out of my lineups, I'll do that in, 20, 30% of them. So I'm going to have, 3 separate builds. So this was kind of short. There'll be a Thursday Night Football video tomorrow. This was now script written, fairly unorganized. Just kind of wanted to walk you through some of the thought process. Good luck, everybody. And as much as I don't like the politics in the NBA, knowing LeBron and his crew and being from Cleveland, I can't cheer for the Lakers, but I can't necessarily cheer against LeBron. So as much as I like to see the Heat, who play team basketball, win, I'm saying Lakers in 6. Lakers win tonight by 14. All right, have a good day, everybody.